Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum class. I welcome you to English grade 6 video lessons. I'm your instructor Zia Hamid. I hope that you're doing well. My dear learners, now after ending unit number 2, we are going to deal with unit number 3 of grade 6. And the title is Captain Muhammad Sarwar Shaheed. And you can clearly see that the theme is about role models, and the sub-theme that we are dealing with is in this unit is awardees of Nishan-e-Haider. Now, I hope that you have thoroughly read the lecture, read the whole text of the lesson. Now, let's take a quick overview of the theme that we explored in the text of the lesson. So, in this unit, this explores the concept of role models, focusing specifically on the heroes of the Pakistan Army who have been awarded the Nishan-e-Haider, the highest military honor in Pakistan. Students will learn about the bravery, sacrifice, and dedication of these individuals and understand how their actions serve as exemplary models of courage and patriotism. Now, we read about Captain Sarwar Shaheed, and the theme of sacrifice, courage, and bravery, all these sub-themes are actually explored in the text of the lesson, and we are talking about the awardees of Nishan-e-Haider as our sub-theme. So this was a quick overview. Now let's see how many SLOs we will be covering in this unit. Let's break them down in different video lectures. First one is actually divided into 2 lectures with 1A and 1B. Let's read our students' learning outcome for lecture number 1A. Recognize and use personal pronouns as subjective, objective, possessive cases, and demonstrative, interrogative, reciprocal, and reflexive pronouns: this, that, one another, myself. So, my dear learners, this is our student learning outcome for our grammar with lecture number 1A, but it's divided into 2 lectures. Now, in this one, we will be dealing with personal pronouns as subjective, objective, and possessive. And the other part of the SLO will be covered in the next lecture, 1B. So, we will be talking about personal pronouns and specifically subjective, objective, and in the possessive case. Now, moving on to our lecture number 1B, the SLO is the same. Let's read it again. Recognize and use personal pronouns as subjective, objective, possessive cases, and demonstrative, interrogative, reciprocal, and reflexive pronouns like this, that, one another, and myself. So in this lecture 1B, we will be covering the rest of the SLO. Here we will be seeing the demonstrative, interrogative, reciprocal, and reflexive pronouns, followed by some of them that are mentioned in the brackets. Now, in this lecture 1B, we will be covering these pronouns that we mentioned in the SLO. Now, moving on with our lecture number 2, again, it's about pronouns. Let's begin by reading our student learning outcome. Identify relative pronouns and use relative pronouns like who, whose, whom, which, that to join relative clauses. So my dear learners, 2 things, pronouns and clauses. We will be seeing all these, and especially we will be seeing in the context of relative pronouns and how we can make or join them with relative clauses. So the purpose of this introductory lecture is to introduce you with different SLOs that we will be covering in this video lecture series. Now moving on with our lecture number 3. Now again we are exploring the student's learning outcome related to pronouns. Let's read this. It says, demonstrate use of pronoun antecedent, agreement, recognizing their relationship. Now, you are familiar with pronoun antecedent and their agreement. We will be exploring this in our lecture number 3. Now, let's talk about our lecture number 4. It's also divided in 2 parts. In lecture 4A, the SLO is recognize and use nouns that are written in plural form are in fact singular, for example scissors. So it's very simple and self-explanatory. There's nothing much to do. We will be just identifying that the plural looking nouns are actually singular nouns, and there are so many other examples. Now with lecture number 4B, we will be covering the SLO, recognize the form functions of present continuous tense. So this will be about tense, and specifically present continuous tense. We will be thoroughly exploring this SLO in our lecture number 4B, and with our lecture number 5, which is also divided in different parts, we have the competency of vocabulary, and the student's learning outcome that we will explore in this one is to use dictionary or thesaurus to locate guide words. Now, we are familiar with reference materials like dictionary and thesaurus. Now specifically we will be looking at how do we identify and how do we get benefit, and how do we actually quickly go through the word that we are looking for with lesser time using the guide words. So this will be about that one. And with our lecture number 5B, we will be talking about the student's learning outcome, differentiate between homophones, whether or whether, seen or seen, heard or heard, here, here, they are, there and there. So all these words sound familiar. They are called homophones, and we will be thoroughly exploring homophones in this lecture number 5B. Now, moving on to lecture number 6, the SLO that we will cover in this one, it says respond to a text with, for example, A, reasons, B, simple judgment, and C, personal interpretation. Now, while we are reading and interpreting the text, we will be looking at these 3 things, and we will explore them in our lecture number 6. Now, with lecture number 7, with 7A, it's also divided in different parts. Now, the student's learning outcome that we will be covering in this one says speak confidently using complex vocabulary and longer sentences to fulfill different purposes. Now let's see. This one is about the competency of oral communication, so it will make us speak and enhance our speaking skills. Speak confidently using complex vocabulary and longer sentences. So complex vocabulary and longer sentences will be the target of achieving this student's learning outcome effectively. Now, with lecture number 7B, this is about the competency of writing. Let's read the student's learning outcome. It says, write a simple descriptive composition giving physical description and characteristics or traits of a person, object, or place, moving from general to specific, using correct punctuation, complex vocabulary, and spelling, by using the process approach like brainstorm, mind mapping, writing a first draft and final draft, and the similar SLO that we have, that we merged with this lecture, is write the final draft after complete editing and proofreading. Now, since this is about writing and specifically writing in a descriptive way or descriptive composition, we will be looking at all these things mentioned, giving physical descriptions of person, place, thing or anything, and then we will be also be looking for correct punctuation, spelling, and also the process approach of writing, which you are already familiar with, that it has 3 steps: pre-writing, drafting, and post-writing. So through that we will be producing our first draft, and with this second SLO that we merged, we will be producing our final draft after editing and proofreading. So this is all about these two SLOs in lecture number 7B, and that's all about it. All these lectures that we will be covering, all these SLOs will be thoroughly covered in our lecture series. Thank you for listening to this introduction lecture. See you with lecture number 1A in the next video. This is your instructor Zia Hamid signing off. Allah Hafiz.